Stoic discipline in modern times. An invitation to become a knight again. Stop scrolling. This is not entertainment. This is a call. If you're a man who feels that modern life has made things easier, but you're weaker, stay with me. If you sense that comfort has replaced discipline, that noise has replaced meaning, and that men are no longer trained to stand firm under pressure, this chapter is for you. I'm not here to motivate you. I'm not here to please you. I'm here to remind you of something the modern world has tried to erase. Men were not built for constant comfort. They were built for responsibility. In ancient times, men lived by codes. They trained their bodies, governed their emotions, and accepted hardship willingly, not because it was pleasant, but because it was necessary. Those men were not perfect, but they were reliable, and civilizations were built on their shoulders. Today, that discipline is gone, and where discipline disappears, weakness fills a gap. This chapter is about Stoic discipline. Not as philosophy, not as quotes on a screen, but as a way of living in the modern world, a way of thinking clearly when others panic, a way of standing upright when society bends, a way of becoming once again a knight, not in armor, but in character. If that idea resonates with you, I ask one thing before we begin. Subscribe to this channel. Not for me, but for yourself. This channel exists to build disciplined men, men who think before they react. Men who master themselves before trying to master anything else. Men who are calm, capable, and unshaken. And if this message resonates with you, please hit the like button. Not as a favor, but as a signal that this kind of content matters, and that men are ready to rise again. Now listen closely, because what comes next is not theory. It is a framework, a code, a discipline. This is Chapter 1. Stoic discipline in modern times. An invitation to become a knight again. The wake-up call. Let me ask you something, and don't answer out loud. Answer it honestly, inside yourself. When was the last time you did something hard on purpose? Not because you were forced, not because you had no option, but because you chose discomfort over ease. If that question makes you uneasy, this chapter is for you. I'm speaking directly to you, the man listening to this right now, the one who senses that something is off in the modern world, the one who has food, shelter, technology, and comfort, yet feels restless, distracted, or quietly dissatisfied, the one who knows he's capable of more discipline, more clarity, more strength, but hasn't yet built the structure to unlock it. From the first second of this video, I want your attention, because what I'm about to say won't flatter you. It won't soothe you. It won't entertain you. It will challenge you. We live in the most comfortable era in human history, yet men are mentally weaker than ever. That is not an insult. It's an observation. Anxiety is normalized. Distraction is constant. Avoidance is rewarded. Responsibility is delayed. And discipline, the very trait that built civilizations, is treated like a personality flaw. I'm not here to complain about society. Complaining is cheap. I'm here to issue an invitation. An invitation to become dangerous again, not to others, but to chaos. An invitation to become disciplined again, not rigid, but grounded. An invitation to become a knight in a time that has forgotten what knights were. When I say knight, I don't mean armor and swords. I mean something older and deeper, a man governed by a code. A man who does not outsource his behavior to trends, moods, or opinions. A man who can be trusted, with responsibility, with power, with silence. History does not remember comfortable men. It remembers disciplined ones. The Roman Republic did not rise because its citizens were entertained. It rose because men were trained from youth to endure hardship, to subordinate ego to duty, and to govern themselves before governing others. When that discipline eroded, when luxury replaced restraint, Rome did not fall overnight. It decayed from the inside. The same pattern repeated across civilizations. The Spartans did not fear hardship. They designed life around it. Their discipline was not cruelty. It was preparation. Medieval knights lived under strict codes of conduct, bound by honor, restraint, and service. Samurai followed Bushido, not because it was easy, but because without a code, strength becomes savagery. Stoicism emerged in the same lineage. not as a philosophy for comfort, but as a discipline for survival. And here is the truth modern men must confront. We are not lacking information. We are lacking formation. You can watch endless content, read endless books, and consume endless advice. But without discipline, knowledge rots into noise. Stoicism was never meant to be motivational quotes on a screen. It was meant to shape men who could stand firm when everything around them collapsed. I speak in the first person because this is a personal matter. I have lived in distraction. I have tasted comfort. I have felt the cost of undisciplined desire. And I have learned this. A man without discipline is not free. He is simply unmanaged. From this moment forward, I want you to listen differently, not as a consumer, but as a man being called back into order. This chapter is the door. What Stoic discipline really is. When most people hear the word Stoic, they imagine emotional suppression, coldness, detachment. That caricature is wrong and dangerous. Stoic discipline is not about killing emotion. It's about commanding a response. I don't deny fear. I master it. I don't erase anger. I discipline it. I don't ignore pain. I use it. The Stoics lived in violent, unstable times. Political purges, wars, exile, plague. They didn't have the luxury of emotional fragility. If Stoicism didn't work in reality, it would have disappeared. Instead, it survived because it produced men who could function under pressure. Here is the core of Stoic discipline. Stated plainly, I cannot control the world. I can control myself. This idea alone dismantles weakness. Modern men exhaust themselves trying to control outcomes, opinions, markets, relationships, and events. When those things don't bend to their will, they become resentful, anxious, or passive. Stoicism cuts through that illusion with surgical precision. What is within my control? My thoughts, my actions, my standards, my effort. Nothing else belongs to me. Once I accepted this fully, something changed. I stopped negotiating with reality. I stopped waiting to feel motivated. I stopped blaming external forces for internal disorder. Discipline became my anchor. The Roman general who could not control his fear lost battles. The statesman who could not control his tongue lost alliances. The man who could not control his appetites lost himself. Stoic discipline begins in the smallest actions, rising when it would be easier to stay down, training the body even when no one is watching, speaking less, listening more, choosing principle over impulse. This is not glamour. It is structured, and structure is what modern men lack most. In ancient times, discipline was embedded in daily life. Rituals, duties, hierarchies, consequences. Today, we are given infinite choices with zero formation. That is not freedom. It is chaos disguised as liberty. Stoicism restores boundaries. It teaches me that not every feeling deserves expression. Not every desire deserves fulfillment. Not every opinion deserves airtime. Silence, restraint, and patience are not weaknesses. They are signs of inner command. The disciplined man does not need to announce himself. His presence carries weight. When I look at history, the men who endured were not the loudest. They were the most ordered. During sieges, famines, and collapses, it was discipline, not optimism, that kept men alive. And today, though the threats look different, the need remains the same. The modern battlefield. Make no mistake, we are at war, not with armies, with distraction. The modern battlefield is psychological. The weapons are convenience, comfort, and constant stimulation. The objective is not to destroy you, but to soften you, to keep you reactive, unfocused, divided, and dependent. A disciplined man is difficult to manipulate. That is why discipline is discouraged. Every notification trains impatience. Every shortcut trains avoidance. Every indulgence trains weakness if left unchecked. This is not accidental. A distracted man is a profitable man. An undisciplined man is an obedient man. Stoic discipline is resistance. When I choose to endure boredom without escaping into stimulation, I reclaim attention. When I choose to train my body, I reclaim authority over myself. When I choose silence over outrage, I reclaim clarity. History proves this pattern. Empires did not fall when enemies grew stronger. They fell when citizens grew softer, when comfort replaced virtue, when pleasure replaced duty, when men forgot how to suffer with dignity. The late Roman Empire was wealthy, entertained, and internally hollow. Discipline had been outsourced, responsibility diluted. When the crisis came, there was nothing solid left to stand on. Stoicism prepares men before crisis arrives. I do not train because life is hard today. I train because it will be hard tomorrow. The knight archetype understood this. Knights train relentlessly in times of peace because war does not announce itself politely. They live by codes because chaos tests character first. Stoic discipline is the modern code. It tells me, do not be ruled by appetite. Do not be provoked into stupidity. Do not abandon principles under pressure. Do not outsource responsibility. This is not extremism. It is maturity. And maturity is radical in a childish culture. The invitation. This is where I speak to you directly again. You don't need to reject the modern world. You need to stop letting it rule you. Stoic discipline is not about withdrawing. It's about standing firm, about becoming someone others can rely on when emotions run high and systems fail. The world does not need louder men. It needs steadier ones. Men who can endure silence. Men who can delay gratification. Men who can hold responsibility without resentment. This chapter is not about nostalgia. It is about continuity. The same principles that forged strong men centuries ago are still available, but only to those willing to practice them. I cannot make you disciplined. No one can, but I can show you the door. Beyond it lies structure. Beyond it lies self-respect. Beyond it lies a version of yourself that does not crumble under pressure. Stoic discipline will demand more from you than motivation ever will. It will ask for consistency, restraint, and humility. But in exchange, it offers something rare: inner sovereignty. A man who governs himself does not fear chaos. He becomes calm inside it. If you stay, if you listen, if you practice what follows in the next chapters, you will not become perfect. You will become reliable. And in a weak society, that makes you powerful. If you're still here, understand this. Most men won't make it to the end of this chapter. They'll scroll. They'll distract themselves. They'll return to comfort. You didn't. That already tells me something about you. Stoic discipline is not built in a day. It's built through repetition, attention, and commitment. And this channel exists for men who are willing to do that work. Quietly, consistently, without applause. If you're serious about mastering yourself, about building strength that doesn't depend on mood or circumstance, subscribe to this channel. Not for content, for continuity. Each chapter builds on the last. Miss one, and the structure weakens. Stay with it, and you'll begin to feel the difference, not in motivation, but in control. If this chapter challenged you, even slightly, hit the like button, not as a reward, but as a mark that says discipline still matters. That men are ready to live by code again. And before you leave, I want you to do one more thing. Sit in silence for 30 seconds. No phone, no noise, no distraction. Ask yourself one question. What is the first act of discipline I will practice today? Do that, nothing more, nothing less. If this chapter gave you clarity, if it challenged you, steadied you, or reminded you of who you're meant to be, subscribe to this channel. Not for entertainment, for discipline, for continuity, for growth. Hit the like button so this message reaches men who need it but don't know where to look yet. And if you know someone, a brother, a friend, a man you respect, who feels the weight of this modern world, share this chapter with him. Not as advice, as an invitation. Strong men don't rise alone. They remind each other the path. The next chapter is coming. Stay disciplined. Stay steady. And remember, this is how knights are made. Chapter 2 will be waiting. Until then,